Hey YouTube, greetings and salutations. This is Mark Nestico, aka Casper the Friendly Gamer, representing Southwest Florida Gamers, and I'm here to do a way overdue pickup video. It's been about a month, a little over that, since I've been able to hang out with you guys and talk about some of the sweet games that I've picked up recently, but we're about to do that. In December, it was pretty slim pickings for me. If you travel as much as I do, which is a lot in the last month or so, you don't really get an opportunity to go game hunting, and I hit the old dusty trail pretty hard. For those of you that don't know, I work for Star City Games, and I travel to a lot of Magic events. So I was in Las Vegas, I was in Dallas, I was in Orlando, and then there was Christmas, of course. So I haven't really gotten many opportunities. It's pretty slow down here for garage sailing at the moment. So I haven't really gotten tons of opportunities to go out and pick up games like I was during September, October, November. But today things pretty much exploded, and you'll see all this like insane amount of stuff that I picked up. But I'm gonna go ahead and start off with some Super Nintendo games, boxed ones actually. A friend of mine, his name is Chase, his girlfriend told him that she's got some of these boxed games just kind of sitting around, and I was all in on that. So she brought them out. We went to like an IHOP, had some pancakes at 2 in the morning, and then we talked some business. And she gave me a really good price on these games. And one of them pretty difficult to find in the box along with the manual. So I was more than happy to make this pickup. The first one is going to be there we go, Super Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. These are all in extremely good shape. They all come with the manuals. They all came with inserts. They all came with the cardboard holder, everything. So was really happy to get these. The next one, we'll save that one for last. The next one, another Star Wars game, and this is going to be Super Star Wars. Beautiful box. Absolutely pristine on this one. So 2 good Star Wars games. Can't complain about those. One of them, one of the games that I just got as well, I didn't actually have. I had the 2 Star Wars games, and this other game that you're going to see in a minute. I had that one too, but I didn't have any of them boxed, so I'll be able to put some of those new ones up for trade. This one I didn't have though, and that is Maximum Carnage. Again, boxed in very good shape. The red cartridge, that's one of the cool things about this game. It might sound juvenile and whatnot, but whenever this game first came out, it had a red cart, and Carnage was sort of like one of the more popular villains. This is mid-90s. This is when comic books were big business again, and Carnage was like a very new kind of cutting edge kind of villain. He was a mass murderer, and the symbiote had taken over him, so he was a way more insane version of Venom. And the game itself was actually very good. I think it's probably I'm sure one of you will figure out if I'm wrong or not, but I think it might be the only good LJN title ever made. Green Jelly did the music for it. Great game. Really happy to have this. I mean, just pretty awesome game. Great shape as well, so I can't be mad about that. And then the last one is definitely the rarer of the boxes. I've seen it sell for as much as $100 on eBay, sometimes less, usually in about the 60 to 40 to 60 range, but depending on the shape of the box, if it has the manual, if it has everything that comes with it. And this one is in great shape, and it comes with everything in it, and that is going to be The Death and Return of Superman. Yeah, you can't see me, John Cena. But anywho, this was a really interesting comic book series when it came out. The game sort of capitalized on it, but it was certainly, I think it was the most popular series of the 1990s before it jumped the shark hardcore, and there was like 17 Superman, and the novelty kind of wore off on it. But it was an excellent storyline. I'm a humongous Superman fan. I love Doomsday as a villain as well. So to have this game boxed and complete is just like the absolute coolest thing. So this was a really nice pickup. These 4 games altogether, we agreed on, I think it was $120, where I was pretty comfortable with that, considering the Death of Superman, Death and Return usually can go, like I said, I've seen it box complete go for like as low as 60 to 68, I think, but I've also seen it go as high as 100. So that, and then Maximum Carnage about $30, and 25 to 30 on each Star Wars game. I feel like it was a good price. She definitely went under eBay, but it wasn't to the point where I was grabbing each game off of her for $10. So it was certainly beneficial for both of us, especially when you're talking about Death and Return of Superman Loose is a $20 game. So just to have that along with the box and everything that goes with it, I don't necessarily think I overpaid for it. I think I paid just the right amount for it without screwing anybody over. So my friend was happy, his girlfriend was happy, and I was extremely happy because I really love to have this. And it also opened up the fact that I can trade off the extra copies that I had of some of these games. So not only did I pay that much, but I can also get rid of the extra copies that I have for trade to recoup some of that money that I lost. Next up, we've got a friend of mine from Magic. He brought a humongous crate of games in. Unfortunately, they were in really bad shape, and it's sad too because there were some great titles in there. Things like Castlevania 4 and just some pretty interesting regular NES titles. A couple good 64 ones, but unfortunately the condition on them was just so piss poor. I was only able to pick up a few of them that weren't in incredibly detrimental shape. The first one was an N64 game, and that's going to be Bomberman 64, which is a really fun game. I remember playing this when I was younger, so I'm quite pleased to have this one now. The first NES game that I picked up off of him is going to be Castle Quest. Not terribly expensive, but a friend of mine said that it was a very good game, and that I should pick it up if I find it. It's nothing expensive. It's like a $3 to $5 game, but I grabbed it. The next two they definitely going to need some cleaning. They're going to need a little bit of love. One of them has a teeny bit of label damage as well, but I can deal with that because one of them is actually pretty hard to come by. But first we have Adventure Island, and then we have Adventure Island 3. Which is, as I'm told, significantly harder to find. It does have some label damage up on the top, as you can see right there. But absolutely happy to have this one. I know it's a little bit more difficult to come by, so I'm going to spend some time cleaning up the carts, making them look a little bit more presentable. Overall, for these I paid $40. He gave me a deal, because of the condition, which I was happy with. Bomberman 64 is about a $10 game. Adventure Island, in good shape, is about $30. So right there is, there's the $40. But then you got to, account for condition. But, then you're talking Adventure Island, a couple bucks, and Castle Quest is, a couple bucks. So these, all together in these condition, when I looked up on eBay, would have all usually came to about like $55 to $60. So I got them for $40. Certainly not an amazing deal, but he is a friend of mine, and we hook each other up with Magic cards. So I didn't mind picking these up for him at those prices, especially because the Adventure Island 3. I'm probably not going to find that game out in the wild. Watch as I say this. Of course, I'll go out there this weekend and I'll probably find the damn thing. But c'est la vie. But I thought like 40 was a pretty okay price on it. So next, these were two PlayStation 1 games I picked up off eBay. I never like to buy off eBay, but these two games I picked up for a combined, I think it was $32, which I feel like is a really good price. One of them I think I got at a steal price because it was a buy it now. I don't know if it was mislisted or something like that, but I was certainly not going to complain. The first, though, is Parasite Eve 2. Really cool game. I remember playing this game a ton when I was a kid. Probably it's a close. It could be my first in terms of favorite survival horror games, but that's probably going to be Resident Evil 3, which I always loved playing. Definitely in great shape. Comes with all the inserts. It came with the disc discs in immaculate shape, along with the manual. Everything, no cracks, no anything in this the case. It's just beautiful. So that one I was quite pleased to pick up. The second one, though, is a little bit more obscure. You're probably going to have to look it up, but it is certainly one of the better PS1 space shooters that I have ever played. I remember playing this a lot when I was younger, and it has one of the best soundtracks of any game on the PS1, and that applies to anything. I'd put this game soundtrack up against just about anything, and it is a Working Designs title, so it's definitely going to be good, and that's the American release of Raystorm in the super shiniest of, look at that, isn't that pretty? Just a really solid space shooter, and I got that at a very good price. Could not be more pleased to pick that game up. Usually I see it go on eBay for around $30-ish, and I picked it up for significantly less than that. So the more expensive, what carried most of the value on what I paid for was Parasite Eve 2, but the Raystorm just felt like almost a free roll at that point. So I picked it up. Could not be more pleased with that. Certainly happy to add these to my PS1 collection, because my bucket list for games that I absolutely have to have that remind me of my childhood on the PS1 is now getting even smaller, and these two were ones that I definitely had to check off. The next two I think are Twisted Metal 1 and 3, like something very easy to pick up. The next one is a really cool pickup, super duper cool, because I picked this up from a friend of mine. His name is Brennan DeCandio, and we were getting ready to go to Dallas together, and I saw this in his closet, and I was like, Brennan, like, what is this doing in there? And he's like, oh, I had it when I was a kid. I don't really touch it anymore. I haven't picked the thing up in 10 years. It's been sitting there in my, we moved. I just put it up there. Probably never going to play it. So I offered him money for it. I was like, dude, I would love to buy this. And zooming. I was like, I would love to buy this. And he said, listen, I know you're collecting games. Why don't you just take it? Like, you can have it. And I was like, I can't take it, man. I got to give you something for it. He's like, no, it's going to a good home. He's like, you'll actually play it. You'll have fun with it. And he's god dang right. He gave me a huge gift, and you'll see it in just a second. First thing he gave me, though, I needed a controller for the GameCube. He just happened to have an extra, like, 10 of them laying around. So he gave me this really nice black first party. Everything on it's in really great shape. It's very clean. He kept his stuff immaculate. So quite happy to get this one. That's my second GameCube controller. I had a Mad Catz one, but it's a piece of shit. And this is great. So I'm happy to replace the Mad Catz one with this. But the big thing that Brennan gave me, the gift, is so awesome. Could not be happier to have this. And that is the gold Nintendo 64. Just absolutely beautiful. You can see it's in beautiful condition. Absolutely lovely. The Zelda release one is very coveted. I think it's probably the prettiest 64 that came out. I really like the cool blue and the see-through orange one, but I think the gold one is just it's just beautiful, and especially in this condition. And not only was it just the system, but Brendan also happened to have two matching gold controllers, which are extremely difficult to find, according to the eBays. But he had two of them. One of them, this one here, happens to have his initials in it, and I think I'm going to keep that on there. Most people, that clean off the initials and whatnot. I think I want to keep that one on there just because it'll A, remind me that he gave this to me, and B, it really adds character. But everything on it is perfect. He actually said when he got this system, he played it probably twice ever, and then just never touched it again. And you could tell, the controllers, the sticks are firm, and the buttons, nothing jams or gets stuck. It's absolutely beautiful. But he gave me his games too. He decided to keep his copy of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time in case he ever wanted to play them again. But he gave me all of his games. Nothing super duper amazing, pretty common titles, but one of them is a part of my favorite gaming franchise. And I was so surprised to just see this randomly sitting in this little, you'll see it in a second. He has one of those little cool holders. But really surprised to see it in there. I have never seen this game out in the wild, and that's going to be Mega Man 64. Just one of my absolute favorite gaming franchises. And Mega Man Legends, really underrated game. Awesome PlayStation 1 entry, and I'm going to have a ton of fun playing this Mega Man 64 especially. But what he gave me all his games in is this bad boy right here. Whoop, let's do a little flipperoonie. That is the Nintendo 64 holder, the actual Nintendo one. And as you can see, there's all these slots. There's some of the games I couldn't fit in here. I just put some kind of neat ones that I like in here. Super Mario 64. There's a WCW game, GoldenEye. What else do I got in here? Paper Mario. Some pretty cool things. But it's really neat to have this official holder. It makes things look a little bit more sleek and special. Whoop. There we go. I'm just getting used to this camera now, sorry. But yeah, so that was a gift from Brennan. Was just absolutely floored by it. It's very, very generous of him. He knows I've always got his back, though, when it comes to things like Magic cards and whatnot. But so yeah, things were dormant for a while. I hadn't picked up anything. I had made an ad on Craigslist like maybe 2 weeks ago, and nobody responded to it, and kind of a bummer. So pretty much I figured, I was like, oh, you know, I guess I'll just give Game Chasing, you know, a couple weeks to catch up. Usually after, you know, the first couple weeks of January, a lot of people leave my area. I live in Fort Myers, Florida. A lot of people leave and they go and they lock up their houses up north and, you know, take care of their affairs up there. So unfortunately, we don't get tons of garage sales during that time frame. But I decided, you know, today on a whim that I was going to repost my ad when I got home from this thing I had to take care of. Well, while I'm driving back from school, I get a phone call from this guy, and he's like, hey man, listen, I was checking Craigslist, I saw your ad, I know it's a couple weeks old, but are you still buying games? And I was like, sure, you know, why not? And he goes, well listen, I have a PS2, a couple controllers, a memory card, and a bunch of games for it, and would you be interested in buying them? And I was like, yeah man, well like, what are you looking to get out of it all? And he was like, well listen, I just want $40. And I'm like, deal. Like in my head, you don't want to give anything away, but I'm like, yeah, like that sounds right up my friggin' alley. So I get there, and before I even give him the money, he talks himself down. He's like, yeah, I said I wanted 40. He's like, but I would also take 20. So he's halved himself. Like, great haggling skills, brother, but hey, I'm not going to complain. Especially, well, part of the reason is also, like, I didn't get a chance to test the PS2 or any of the game, or check out the games to make sure they were scratched or anything like that, or see if they work. So I'm not going to feel too bad about it, but you know, for $20, this was just a friggin' steal. So let's go ahead and talk about them. Let's see them. We're going on a trip. I don't want to give too much away. That's why I'm trying to be all sneaky with you. There's a lot of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go through these games really, really quickly because there are a lot of them. But the first thing I'll show you, you know, we've got one of the black controllers here. We've got the blue transparent one, and then of course we've got a fat PS2, a little memory card sticking out of it. Definitely really nice to have one of those fat PS2s. But tons of games that came along with this thing. So first off, we've got The Force Unleashed. All of these, by the way, except for like 3 or 4 of them, are complete and very little scratches. It's like they were adult owned. So Midnight Club 2. Dog's Day, or Dog's Life, sorry. Apparently this is like a $20 game, by the way. I have no idea. We've got Hitman 2. Gran Turismo 4. A couple copies of Transformers the Game. Should be called Transformers the Shitty Movie. We've got Conflict Desert Storm. Shitband. World Series of Poker. Tournament of Champions. Really, really awesome fad. Here we've got ATV 4 Off-Road Fury. Thrillville. We've got Major League Baseball 2K7. NBA Live 06. Pretty good one. Not expensive, but a definitely great game. God of War. SpongeBob SquarePants, Creature from the Krusty Krab. American Idol Karaoke. We'll never play that game. Lego Star Wars. Lights, camera, pants. Tony Hawk Project 8. This reminds me when I used to be a store manager at GameStop, and like people would bring in like shit tons of these PS2 games, and I would just stare at them angrily. Another Transformers the game. This one's a good game. I'm actually really happy to have this one. That's going to be Contra, Neo Contra. Max Payne. American Get to the Chopper. Backyard Football with Thomas Edward Brady Jr. on the front. Really good game here. Code Veronica X, Resident Evil. Such a friggin' sweet game. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. This one was actually very good. I enjoyed this one when it first came out. Fight Night, Round 3. SmackDown versus Raw 2006 with John You Can't See Me Cena. 24, the game with the Keef. I'm in your veins, Michael. We've got SmackDown versus Raw 2008 featuring ECW. Celebrity Deathmatch. Are you smarter than Jeff Foxworthy? Probably. Jack 2. Star Wars 2. Lego Star Wars, sorry. The original trilogy. Another good one. Grand Theft Auto, Liberty City Stories. So many freaking PS2 games. Jack 2, or pardon me, this is Jack X. Combat Racing. Is there any other kind? Thrillville. Off the Rails, aka Off the Heezy. The Godfather of the movie. Welcome to the family. Sims 2, Pets. Because I'll play that one and you bet your ass. And then last but not least, The Simpsons game. Unfortunately, this one did not come with a manual, which would have been nice because that's actually a pretty sweet game. So I got all that for 20 bucks. I'm pretty sure the guy was just selling all this shit for weed money. Like 99% sure that that's where it was all going to. Way too eager to sell, but hey, you know, what you gonna do? So I'm feeling a little better. You know, I was having a pretty shitty day at this point, and I'm feeling a little bit better because, you know, all these games, great shape, come home, plug the system in, it works just fine and dandy like sour candy. So, okay, we're at a successful point. Funny enough, these games, I didn't have a single one of them. I didn't own any of these. Now I have 2 copies of Transformers. You're jealous. So I was pretty happy with that. I decided to focus a little bit more on PS2. So this was nice to get like just a shit ton of fillers out of the way. So I get home, I test some of the games. Yeah, everything works. I feel good. And I get another phone call. And this guy's like, "Hey man, I just saw your ad on Craigslist," because at this point I'm like, "Well, hey, I'm going to repost it," because apparently some guy went back and liked what I had put over everybody else. So I reposted it. 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. "Hey man, I got a whole bunch of stuff in my house. Would you be interested in picking it up?" And I'm like, "Sure." So he lived about less than 20 minutes away. He told me prior he had like a Dreamcast, a Genesis, a Super Nintendo, a PSP. He had a Game Boy SP, PS1, and a PS2. Well, when I got there, he couldn't find the PS1, but that's all right. I already got one. And his PS2 was the slim model. And he couldn't find the power brick for it. And the PSP was just like, the screen looked like somebody had just gone to town on it, just went crazy. So everything else that he had, though, I was very interested in, and it gave him I think it was about like $60, which is what he asked. So I was like, yes, if I have to do that, I'll do it. But I feel like I did very, very well on this. Yeah, so anyhow, so we start with the Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast came with 4 controllers. You got your first party, couple of those ones right here. You've got the black transparent front with a memory card in it. I believe not a first party memory card though. And then we've got the blue. This is the Millennium Edition one, the blue transparent. They all work, so that's good. The system, it definitely is going to need some love. It needs to be cleaned, but it works just fine. Just got to take some Windex or something and clean the front of it off because it's pretty ugly. But the games that came with it, all of them were complete except for one. It's missing a manual, but I'm going to get the manual for sure. But first we've got Air Force Delta. Really good ones here. This is NFL 2K1. Sports Games EU. This is NHL 2K. Sega Sports NFL 2K. Then we get into some of the, well, not really, just, there's a couple good ones. This is going to be World Series Baseball 2K1. And then we have Sega Bass Fishing. Bet your ass. Next up, we've got, it's a $20 game, according to price charting. eBay, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's missing the manual, so I'm going to go ahead and buy that. It definitely behooves me to finish this game off. But that is going to be Plasma Sword. Fighting game, looks really, really interesting. I read some reviews online for it. It's actually supposed to be a really good game, so I definitely want to get the manual for that. He also had this one, which is just fantastic. Virtual On. Awesome game. I'm sure you guys remember playing Virtual On in the arcades. Really cool mech combat game. And then lastly, Soul Calibur. You know, one of the flagship games that was released for the Dreamcast. So the Dreamcast plus these games, I felt was already going to be worth probably around the $60 that I was going to be spending. But this guy just, you know, kept throwing stuff at me, and I was happy to oblige. He went ahead and just threw in this. It's as you can see, it's scratched to shit. It does work. I did plug it into my one of my chargers, and it does work. The screen is in surprisingly good shape. The rest of it, though, it just absolutely tore to pieces. It really pains me to see people treat their systems this way. But he basically looked at me, like, I saw it, I was like, oh man, you know, is this for sale too? He's like, bro, you can just have it. He's like, it's in really bad shape. So while he's in the the bedroom picking up everything else that he's going to be selling me, I'm looking, and he had mentioned that he wanted to sell his PS3. So I, you know, already have a PS3. It's a good one. I don't really see a reason to pick up another one right now, especially when people are still trying to get like $150 to $200 for them. But he did have a copy of a game that I've been looking to pick up for a while, and that's going to be Street Fighter X Tekken. Really interesting game, and it is complete. And you know, I asked him, I was like, you know, would you sell this too? And he just kind of like threw it on the pile. He's like, yeah, man, sure, whatever you want. So we got this one as well, which is a really nice addition. I'm a huge fighting game fan. I have a lot of trouble playing them now because of arthritis, but you know, as long as I'm not trying to play competitively anymore, I can just have fun and enjoy these. So anywho, we got some more stuff over here. So he went ahead and pulled out, and all the cords for these are out. I just separated them so I could show them a little bit easier. But we've got a Model 2 Genesis with 2 controllers. One of them is this big disgusting Mad Catz thing here. This one right here, the Mad Catz Turbo Stick. And then we also just have the a normal controller. The 6-button one though, so that's pretty sweet. Along with some games too. We've got Pac-Man 2. Here we go. The new adventure. I always love the picture on this because Pac-Man looks like he's just stoned out of his fucking mind. We've got Tecmo Basketball. Let's see here. A copy of Mortal Kombat. And then lastly, you know, it's a complete copy of Echo the Dolphin, which I didn't have any of these games actually, so I'm pretty cool with picking these ones up. And he's got actually all the original stuff too that goes with it. The original power brick, and you know, the original, this ugly ass thing to plug into your AV and your cable and all that good stuff. So he goes back into the room again after pulling the Sega stuff out. He brings out a copy of Super Mario World. It does have a little tear on the label up here, but I have a copy of this already, so this will be for trade. Let's pop this sucker out here. A copy of NBA Jam. A first-party controller that is in immaculate shape, like absolutely just very pretty, which is nice to have, you know, an actual real first-party controller. And then he has one of the elongators. You know, you can plug this into your controller and then plug it into your system, and it gives you more, you know, more space to play. And then, you know, the systems are dirty, but luckily they work. A non-yellowed out Super Nintendo, and it worked. You know, tested it out, and it was working just fine. It just needs a lot of love. It's in pretty bad shape. And then these things are, hello, you're seeing me very close. These things are very funny. These are like Chinese-made controllers or something. I have no idea, but they're like so piss poorly made. I'm just showing them for like comedy purposes. But everything about them is just fucked up. Come on out. As you can see, like the cord is super small. These barely even press. And the little pad here, like it's actually a sticker. It's coming off. But he threw these in too. I got them for like comedic value. They're not even worth ever using. I'll probably put them in a drawer somewhere. But they do come with a box. That's pretty fucking sweet, right? So all that stuff I picked up for about 60 bucks. So already right off the bat, I mean, that was another great pickup. So all these, you know, just super awesome games. For the Dreamcast, some systems. I already have all these systems, but having extras isn't bad, especially for trading and things like that. And now we get to the coup de grace. This is just the absolute cat's pajamas here. I'm gonna. You see this here? You can. It's a wicker bag. That's what I got. A wicker carrying case thingy. We gotcha. Yeah. Oh, I'm dropping shit already. Oh well. Whoop. There we go. So anywho, this is really neat. Oh, I fucked it up. So this guy calls me up. I get home. I literally go in the room, kiss my wife, say, hi, honey, I'm home. Walk out of the room and get another phone call. So I've been called twice today. This makes 3. Guy pretty much comes by and he goes, hey, I sent you an email. I don't know if you saw it, which I didn't, because clearly I would have responded to it. He goes, I have a whole bunch of N64 games and I want to get rid of them. They're just taking up space in my closet. And he goes, you know, I pretty much want like $3 to $5 per game. He goes, they vary a little bit. And I'm like, sure. So I go there, he pulls this thing out of his truck, and he goes, you know, here, go, take a look at them. So I go and take a look at them. Now, what he did not mention is while he does have some pretty damn good games here, and you'll see in just a second, he lists them off to me, and I'm like, wow, these are some great games. Like, I'd be happy to pick all these up. What he didn't tell me is that he had doubles of some of them. And not just some of them, he had doubles of, like, the good ones. So right off the bat, first game, a copy of Ocarina of Time. We've got Banjo and Kazooie. We've got Mickey's Speedway. Now we have not one, but 2 copies of Mario Kart 64. Put that one down, pick this one up. See, the other one's a little bit more faded on the label. This one's very nice, though. We've got a copy of Supercross 2000. Shitty game, but what are you going to do? We've got Mario Party, the original. WCW NWO Revenge, as I've said before, one of the best wrestling games ever made. We've got Donkey Kong 64. We've got NASCAR 2000. Got my cat scratching itself. Hey, stop it. Got Cruisin' USA. Star Wars Shadow of an Empire. Or of the Empire, sorry. 1 copy of Pokemon Snap. Just kidding, 2 copies of Pokemon Snap. Ooh, so good. We've got 1 copy of Super Mario 64. Oh wait, just kidding. We've got 2 copies of Super Mario 64. Another really good one, Yoshi's Story. We've got Namco Museum. We've got Diddy Kong Racing. And then lastly, pretty spicy one right here, we've got Pokemon Stadium 2, you know, with the silver back on it. I gotta take this little sticker off for the JT kid. But great shape. So I was really, really happy to make this pickup. Basically because the guy just, you know, he lists off the games and he's like, you know, this is what I've got. And I'm like, man, these are great games. And he had doubles of some of them. Like, and not just doubles, like, but he's got doubles of Mario 64. He's got doubles of Mario Kart 64. And doubles of Pokemon Snap. I mean, Jesus, Mary, St. Joseph, like, that is already off the chain in terms of a purchase. So, you know, we talk about some numbers, and I get everything for, I ask him, I was like, you know, what do you want for all this, man? And he's like, how about 50 bucks? And I'm like, well, I've only got 20. Is it okay if I do 40 bucks? And he's like, sure. So I give him that, and he's happy. He's pleased as punch. I'm pleased as punch. I feel really, really good about this buy because now I'm going to recoup most of the money that I spent today, and I'm going to keep a good portion of these games strictly because I didn't have any of them to begin with. But the other ones that I do have, like Mario Karts and things like that, like I'm probably going to go ahead and you know, use these games for trading or something like that, and that's going to allow me to you know, keep picking up more and more things. So today was just like what you saw. The Super Nintendo game, or pardon me, the Super Nintendo system, the Genesis, the PS2, the Dreamcast, all these 64 games. All that was just today. That was one day. That was 3 separate phone calls, one day, and holy shit, like that is badass. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Hopefully I have some more insane pickups over the next week or so I can keep doing these videos and make them a more regular thing, because today was just like one of those like wowzers days. So keep looking out for my videos. If you guys like what you see, make sure you sub the channel and give it a little thumbs up at the bottom. I'm going to keep doing this because, man, if it's always going to be this awesome, then I'm always going to be doing it. So other than that, catch you on the flip. Thanks for watching.